King's Island. There were a city was surrounded by an impregnable wall. The law of the people of that city was that no king should rule them for more than a year. When the king completes the term of rule, they wear it a white dress, perfume it, carry him on their shoulders, and take him around the city. Then they send him to a deserted island to spend the rest of his life there. One of the kings ended his reign, and as their custom, they dressed him in a white robe, perfumed him, and carried him on their shoulders. And they roamed him the city, saying goodbye to him. This moment was one of the most difficult moments of sadness and pain for the king and all those before him. Then they placed him on the ship that transported him to the distant island, where he would spend the rest of his life. The ship returned to the city, and on the way back they discovered one of the ships, which sank recently, and they saw a young man clinging to a floating piece of wood. They rescued him and took him to their city and asked him to be their king for 1 year. But he refused at first, and then agreed. They told him about the laws that prevailed in the city, and that after a year had passed, he would be taken to that island. 3 days after the young man assumed the throne, he requested to visit the island only to find it surrounded by dense forests. He heard the sounds of evil animals echoing throughout the island, and he was found, the bodies of previous kings lying on the ground. Then the king returned to his city. He gathered 100 strong workers and took them to the island. He ordered them to clean the forest and build a palace and an anchorage for ships. He used to visit the city once a month to check on the progress of work. The work was progressing at a rapid pace. Over time, the island turned into a beautiful place. The king was smart. He wore simple clothes and spent very little on his life in the city. In exchange, he devoted the money that was given to him to rebuilding this island. The year was completed, and it was the king's turn to move to the island. People dressed him in the usual white dress and perfumed him. They carried him on the shoulders like of those who came before him. But what is striking is that the king was not sad like the rest of the kings who preceded him. He was smart, and he repaired the island where he would spend the rest of his life. He was happy because he will be relieved from people's problems. He looked like someone going on a leisure trip. Life is that city. Each one of us is a temporary king. He runs his life the way he wants, and one day he will wear the white dress that all those who left before him wore. He will be perfumed and carried on shoulders to that island, who cared about the city and forgot the island. He will be sad the day he passes, because he went from temporary bliss to permanent misery, who was smart and took advantage of his rule to transform the deserted island into a paradise. He will be happy the day he leaves. He will be like a freed prisoner, freed from worries, responsibilities, illnesses, and pains. He will look like he is going on a relaxing trip, like no other. Every one of us today is a temporary king, and we will all go to it. Whoever planted a rose will go and pick it. Whoever planted a thorn will go to reap it.